In this brief lecture, we're going to learn about the basics of calculating a return on an investment in training. You can then review a detailed example of calculating ROI at the bottom of this page. Here is the ROI formula for future reference. This ratio gives us an estimate of how much we can expect in return for every dollar we invest in a program. To calculate this ratio, we conduct a cost-benefit analysis and identify the financial benefits and costs of a training program. This graphic represents the specific steps we need to take to calculate ROI. We start by identifying the outcomes that we intend the program to achieve. If we're using the Kirkpatrick-Phillips model, we can use the level 4 results outcomes. For example, increased productivity, reduced waste, fewer accidents. Then we need to place a monetary value on each outcome. How much does the organization save by preventing a single accident, for example? Then we determine the change in each outcome from year to year and multiply it by the assigned monetary value to find the value of the change itself. How many fewer accidents were reported this year compared to last year, and how much did this reduction save the organization? Next, we determine the costs of training, including the costs of program design, facilities, travel, lodging, and even lost productivity during trainees' absences. Finally, we can use the formula to subtract the total costs from the total benefits and divide the difference by the total cost of the investment. After multiplying the quotient by 100, we arrive at a percentage. Negative percentages mean the training program lost money. Positive percentages mean the organization gained money from the program. To determine the benefits of training, we collect information from multiple sources. First, we review the needs assessment to identify the reasons the program was created in the first place. We can also use the training objectives and the learning outcomes to identify the goals of the program and the trainees, respectively. In academic and professional journals, both researchers and professionals share their evidence-based approaches, examples, and best practices, information that might help us in the process of evaluating our own training programs. Pilot testing the program with a small group of potential trainees and other stakeholders can help us identify benefits of the training program, as well as areas that are in need of improvement. Finally, trainees and their managers can help us identify the direct and indirect benefits that they experienced as a result of the training program. Their individual estimations can then be aggregated to come up with a more objective and probably accurate estimation of the value of each of these benefits. We also use multiple methods to determine training costs. Accounting methods provide the most objective data because it's based on a historical record of previous expenditures, on receipts. Another method to determine costs is the resource requirements model, which identifies the type and quantity of resources that we need to meet the training requirements at each stage of the development process, from needs assessment to evaluation. We can then compare these costs across programs. Are we spending more on the evaluation of some programs than we should be, given the significance of the investment? We need to consider both the direct costs, for which receipts can be found, and the indirect costs that are less obvious. Again, stakeholders can be incredibly helpful in identifying these hidden costs. These costs are not only useful in ROI calculations, they also help us make decisions about programs. We can also compare the costs of 2 or more programs. When determining costs, we need to consider both the direct costs, for which receipts can be found, and the indirect costs that are less obvious. Again, stakeholders can be incredibly helpful in identifying these hidden costs. You can view additional examples of potential training benefits and costs on this page. On the next page, you will practice calculating ROI.